Change our hearts this time. Your word says that it can be. Change our minds this time. Your life could make us free. We are the people your call set apart. Lord, this time, change our hearts. I've always loved this song by Rory Cooney. And I think it's a wonderful prayer to pray in response to these readings on the fifth Sunday of Lent. We certainly need to change our hearts, the change of heart promised by Jeremiah. Each of us individually, as a church, as a nation, and citizens of the world. I don't need to catalog all the things we need to change. Maybe it's enough just to quote some lines from Pope Francis's book, Let Us Dream. He writes, "How will we deal with the hidden pandemics of this world? The pandemics of hunger and violence and climate change. This is a moment to dream big, to rethink our priorities, what we value, what we want, what we seek, and to commit to act in our daily life on what we have dreamed of. Dream and pray for a change of heart." But how does God change our hearts? Certainly not in any magical, mechanical way, like you change a battery in a flashlight or a remote control device. It's much more subtle, more like a dance. God, the Spirit, actually makes the first move, of course, putting the desire for change in our hearts, that restlessness of heart that St. Augustine famously wrote about. Through the church, the Spirit gives us a time like Lent, a time when we're surrounded by scripture texts and communal practices that call us to change. Gradually, the Spirit begins to work. Several of these powerful Lenten texts are in our gospel reading for today. Only if a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies can it yield an abundant harvest. Only if we stop clinging to our life and let it go will our lives actually flourish. Only if we, like Jesus, open up to our suffering will we actually be able to get through it. As we open up to these texts and begin to follow Jesus more closely in service and in various spiritual practices, join the dance, our hearts are tendered. And when that happens, the Spirit is able to change our hearts. God never works without our cooperation, but ultimately, that working is God's work. We are able then to look upon the cross and be drawn into the life of Jesus. It is this being drawn into Jesus's life that's the point of Lent. As we move toward the climax of Lent on Passion or Palm Sunday next week, and then into Holy Week and the Triduum, we can participate in the Paschal mystery with our whole hearts, hearts now tendered and changed by the Spirit's grace and love. Change our hearts this time. Your word says it can be.